We're here with Elisha Goldstein, mindfulness author, therapist, teacher, co-founder of the Center for Mindful Living in Los Angeles, and one of the most popular bloggers on mindful.org. Welcome, Elisha. Tell our audience a little bit about what's happening for you in your mindfulness work.
Thank you, Jim. It's so great to be here with you and all the amazing work you guys are doing over at Mindful. And this year for me is, really about focusing a big point on a couple different things, which is really our center, the Center for Mindful Living in LA, that I co-founded with my wife, Stephanie Goldstein, is meant to be the integrative center of mindfulness and psychotherapy. And also a place where we're now starting to realize is offering new and creative types of things that are integrating mindfulness and play. And, one of the fundamental attitudes that, is missed when people are starting to learn about mindfulness is the importance of play. So we're hoping to open our arms to a new audience of people who would be reluctant maybe to come into mindfulness, but would be happy to learn it through things like cooking and improv and surfing and photography and writing and various things like that. So, the real integration of these types of modalities we're going to start coming out with in 2016. Also, just cool other things like being involved with different organizations that are trying to really restore humanity and restore the connection of humanity through different forms of technology and integrating more mindfulness into the workplace, which is more where most of us spend our time. And so building more programs, we'll start seeing rolling out in 2016 for that. Also, a whole new course and symposium around mindfulness at work in general with some of the leading figures that are out there. And so, I see let's help people integrate mindfulness into the areas of life where they're spending a whole lot of their time. And also, by the way, I think this year I'll start doing something really exciting for me, which is working on a book for the first time with my wife, Stephanie, and we'll be writing the book that I think is tentatively titled MBSR Workbook for Teens, and based on our CALM program, Connecting Adolescents to Learning Mindfulness. So there's just so much cool stuff that's happening, and I feel so hopeful about, and encouraged by all the work that is happening here at our Center for Mindful Living and all over the country and around the world right now. So many different conferences and symposiums on mindfulness and hoping to connect people to people once again.
Wow, that's a lot and very inspiring. Thanks. So now that we're on the verge of 2016, what do you see emerging in your work in the new year? And then if you would, more broadly, what are some themes emerging all in all in the mindfulness field that you'd like our audience to be aware of?
As I've been in this work for a little while now, where I keep, inclining towards is, how do we, this may sound very broad, but what's going to make the world a better place? How do you change individual lives that then have ripple effects across other people's lives? And I see technology as playing a role in that, even though it's kind of like we're trying to get away from this thing a little bit. At the same time, it's part of our lives. And so integrating with that more. And so we'll start seeing more available meditations via a variety of different apps, more programming to reach out to broader communities. I think we're starting to see in the mindfulness space that while mindfulness has become a mainstream conversation, it's not necessarily a mainstream practice. And so we're seeing more people starting to be drawn to, the practice of mindfulness, integrating into their life as an informal practice and a formal practice. We're going to see more shops we're going to see more shops that are popping up that are going to allow people to step in and drop into practice. We're going to see more live online and not live online offerings by a whole bunch of different people that are making it accessible to people to kind of drop in and practice mindfulness, again, formally and informally. And so I just see more and more of this happening. And I'm seeing more of it happening in education, more businesses coming on board with it. And The healthcare companies starting to offer it to reduce healthcare costs, and 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 I see mine, see you guys as kind of a central hub, for all of that, kind of even growing into that. And so I just hope to be a part of that, help move that wave along, as much as I can through my books, writings, creating programs, working with people individually, speaking in the U.S. and around the world, and continuing to collaborate to make the world a better place, reconnect us, restore humanity, I guess you might say.
Wow, that's a very inspiring vision for why we're doing this. And of course, from our many chats, that Mindful shares your view that the purpose of this whole thing is actually to bring benefit to people. Do you have any suggestions in particular for things you could see Mindful doing to support your work and the work of bringing more of that kind of mindfulness into the world in 2016?
Well, you guys already do an amazing job supporting my work, so I'm just grateful for that. I would like to see Mindful continue to move down the digital route, more continuing to strengthen as a central hub for all things mindful, really. So that I can go maybe to Mindful and I can find locally, who's someone I can connect with that can support me in my work and my practice. That I can find digital applications there that can kind of support me in my work life and my home life. I think Mindful has the opportunity to continue to grow and strengthen into that space of being kind of, again, the central hub of supporting mindfulness in daily life, individually and collectively. And I think you guys are already kind of on your way, in doing that in such a wonderful way, and then continue to strengthen that with the crew that you have over there.
Thank you, Elisha.